Welcome back. This is the 91st segment of Making Sense for 7 minutes, and it is the 21st segment out of 25, where we are taking a hard look at evil and suffering. Now, so far in this series, what we've done is we've spent most of our time examining the issue of evil and our responses to it. Because since evil always results in suffering, if we address evil, we will, in large part, be addressing the concern of suffering as well. However, of course, not all suffering is a result of evil. There are all forms of suffering that have no moral component to them. It's just what happens when you go through living life. Now, in this exploration, I've noted that I am speaking from a biblical worldview perspective. So you might want to keep that in mind as over the next few segments, wrapping this up, we begin to really concentrate on questions concerning suffering. And these questions are going to be not exhaustive by any means, but key. And they are, what do we know about God? What do we know about people? What do we know about the purposes of God? And what do we know about the future? In the last segment, I pointed out that there are 4 key historical events that create a template, if you will, for establishing a biblical worldview. And they can be itemized as creation, corruption, redemption, and restoration. Now, creation presupposes a creator. And the Bible tells us, in the beginning, God created. So, what do we know about God? Well, first of all, we know that he loves us. Even though there are times when the circumstances of our life would give us absolutely no indication whatsoever that he loves us. So we have to look outside of our circumstances. And the fact is, as the Bible tells us, read Romans 5:8, that God demonstrates his love toward us in that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. The second thing we know is that God is omniscient. He's all-knowing. Nothing gets past him. And he is thoroughly aware and familiar with every circumstance in your life. And with this knowledge, he has all wisdom. He knows what is best. Finally, God is completely sovereign. He is totally in control of absolutely every single aspect of the universe. There is not one single rebellious, mutinous, renegade, independent molecule out there loose in the universe outside of his control, because he is completely sovereign. A number of years ago, a rather seductive but fatally flawed book, and therefore ultimately detrimental, was published, written by Rabbi Harold Kushner, When Bad Things Happen to Good People. And one of his chapters is entitled, God Can't Do Everything, but He Can Do Some Important Things. Wrong. God can't do everything? Yes, He can. There is another book that I would and do recommend, which speaks to this question, what do we know about God? And it speaks accurately to the question. It's also a book that was a lifeline for me a number of years ago when I was going through a very serious bout of depression. It's by a gentleman named Jerry Bridges, Trusting God Even When Life Hurts. And in it, he wrote on page 18, and it's worth the price of the book. In the areas of adversity, the scriptures teach us three essential truths about God. They are, God is completely sovereign, He is infinite in wisdom, God is perfect in love. Someone has expressed these three truths as they relate to us in this way. God in His love always wills what is best for us. In His wisdom, He always knows what is best. And in His sovereignty, He has the power to bring it about. What do we know about God? He can be trusted in adversity. Thanks, y'all.